Hello, good evening. This is QTV News and I am Mamudu Gajaga. We are coming to you live from our studios along Karaba Avenue. Thank you for joining us. First, here are the main local and sports news headlines. In his Meet the People tour in KMC, President Barrow has announced his government's plan for infrastructure development in response to concerns affecting the communities in the Kanifing municipality. In the wake of the heavy flood in Banjul, which affected part of the capital, President Barrow visited the area and promised his government's full political will to address the cause of the problem in the fastest possible time. The Speaker of the ECOWAS Parliament, Honorable Sidi Mohamed Tunis, has called on political leaders and Gambians to do everything possible to preserve the country's peace and stability ahead of the December election. The Ministry of Basic and Secondary Education, MOPSI, on Thursday briefed the media on the outcome of the 2021 Grade 9 exam results. In sports news, the Damfa Kunda Sports Committee on Saturday held the final of the 4th edition of the community's annual football tournament. Those were the main news headlines, and now the news in detail. Thank you for joining us. Well, it's a pleasure if you're just joining us. This is QTV News and I am Mamudu Gajaga. In his Meet the People tour in KMC, President Adama Barrow announced his government's plan for infrastructure development in response to concerns affecting the communities in the Kanifing Municipal Council. Mamudu Laminchoy reports.
The presidential tour pulled what appears to be the largest crowd so far at the buffer zone in the Kanifing municipality. It is the last but one meeting of the tour, which has given Gambians a chance to dialogue with the president on their development concerns and expectations. As in most of the meetings, top of people's agenda at this event are appeals for solutions to development challenges facing their constituencies, such as health, education, water, electricity, roads, and other facilities. Seko Marong, the National Assembly member for Latrikunda, highlights the low water pressure in his constituency and appeals for this to be prioritized for solving.
Your Excellency, KMC water pressure alotale geo akasoto KMC but naka soto jama kaka suto da malti KMC dula jama bebe the same thing complain kan. Your Excellency nga expect la ko ni na be improvement okela ananta dat la geo la Gambia KMC ko nyanta geo soto la wato la anasiru mo fanana.
At the meeting, the Minister of Youth and Sports gives an update on the President's record in responding to the development needs of people across the country, including support for agriculture, development funds for youth and women, roads and other areas.
President Barrow nguram moko liggéey li nga xam ne ni mooy Iceman génn Kanifing yooyu President Barrow moko liggéey kon bu ñu kenn wax ne liggéey yoon yëpp up country lañ ko def.
Responding to the development challenges of the people of KM, President Barrow reveals government's plan to construct a health post in Talending, a mini stadium with basketball and handball courts in Bakwate, construction of high school in Talending, the rolling out of a multi-million dollars water project to solve the water problem in the Kanifing municipality, expansion of Fajikunda Health Center, and provisions of ambulance for all 7 constituencies in the KM. Nga jube be tembe jumal pour preso soro jambe KMC kono anu projet ko manda wala fana abe jio expand lale jio man fuda mel ma fana jio be fuda lawol fana male. Earlier on Wednesday, President Adama Barrow inaugurated the 5th health post in Busumbala in the West Coast region. As in other inaugurations, President Barrow presents an ambulance to the health post. Residents of Busumbala reacted to the development with delight and appeals for the construction of the road linked to the village.
As I said yesterday, yet it's an order ceremony, it's an order health facility, it's an order achievement. It's a milestone achievement as far as the National Development Plan is concerned. Health is wealth. Health is everything. Without health, you cannot do anything in your life. So this is important. It's a priority to my government, and it should be a priority for everybody. But the Busambalankol me asola kafoko. Nimu followed laldi.
The 2021 Meet the People tour wraps up today in the capital, Banjul, where there will be a joint meeting of all the 3 constituencies in the city, bringing to an end the President's dialogue with the people on the impact of his government's policies, programs and projects. Mahmoud Lamin Choi, QTV News.
Now, in the wake of the heavy flood in Banjul, which affected part of the capital, President Barrow visited the area to gather first-hand information. Speaking to the victims, the President promised his government's full political will to address the cause of the problem in the fastest possible time. Mahmoud Lamin Choi again.
Recent downpours have left a part of Banjul's streets flooded and some houses at Tobacco Road on the northern side of the capital. The President calls his tour of the area as a duty and in solidarity with victims and to take a swift response to remedy the situation. On the tour, the President interacts directly with some of the victims to gauge their plight with a promise of swift action. Accompanying the President on this tour are senior government officials, including the Secretary General and the Head of Civil Service and the Minister of Lands. Abduba, the supervisor at Nawek Sewage Division in Banjul, briefs the President about the cause of the flood.
Okay, what I'm telling you is this. If you see this problem, it's because of the problem that we have at the sea outfall. The sea outfall is broken. So we were pumping through that sea outfall during rainy season, even before rainy season. But it happened now to a very bad time when the pipe break by this time of the year. So now we couldn't pump to the river again. We have to pump yet through the channel. So we are pumping all the water now, the storm water, the sewage water, everything is going through in one direction, which is very wrong and shouldn't happen, but it happened accidentally. It's not our will.
Banjul North is reportedly the only flood-affected area in the city. The sewage supervisor assures the President that his team is working around the clock to fix the problem in a week's time. Another site visited was the National Library, whose premises is waterlogged. President Barrow relates his academic history of the library and underscores his commitment to addressing its problems.
One of the most comfortable places to come and study. So, becoming the head of state, and after enjoying the services of National Library, you cannot see trouble. Exactly. You have to solve problems. Exactly. And I think together we can solve it. Exactly. Then we have to learn. Okay. And we see how best to engage our partners. Sure. Yeah, and we look at certain doors.
For a comprehensive assessment of the condition of the facilities for the Banjul drainage system, President Barrow visited the water pumping station along the Bond Road, which was constructed in the 1950s by the colonial administration to serve as a taming point of water flowing into Banjul. The pumping machines were operating when the President arrived. Having toured the affected area and seen firsthand the effects of the flood and spoken to victims, President Barrow gives his reaction about the impact of his roads project in Banjul, which he says has brought joy to and appreciation from the residents of the capital.
When I entered Tobacco Road today, I feel something else, because I've seen the work, I've seen the finishing, I've seen the changes, I've seen the impact on the life of the people. Despite the people are affected, but they are still happy. They are still supporting the government. They are still showing their appreciation.
The final site visit by the President was at the seaside, where the faulty sea outfall, the pipeline or tunnel that discharges the wastewater or stormwater to the sea. The pipe needs to be fixed for a permanent solution to such disasters, on which President Barrow plans to engage his government for swift action. Mahmoud Lamin Choi, QTV News.
The Speaker of the ECOWAS Parliament has called on political leaders and Gambians to do everything possible to preserve the country's peace and stability ahead of the December election. Honorable Sidi Mohamed Tunis, who is leading a fact-finding mission to Banjul, also applauded government support to the Independent Electoral Commission to ensure a smooth electoral process. Aliou Cissé reports.
A delegation from the ECOWAS Parliament, led by the Speaker of the Parliament, Honorable Sidi Mohamed Tunis, is in the country to engage relevant stakeholders as the country prepares for the December polls. Delegation was in Cape Verde, where they have also engaged several stakeholders there as the country also prepares for election on the 17th of October. The delegation is here to find out how far the country has gone as far as preparation for the election is concerned. The mission could be seen as being proactive in ensuring the principles of democracy are upheld. The key focus of the delegation is to gather information on the electoral processes, identify good practice and note possible shortcomings. The delegation had met the Speaker of the Gambia's National Assembly, civil society organizations, political leaders, officials of the Independent Electoral Commission, Chief Justice Hassan B. Jallow and President Adama Barrow. At a press conference on Thursday, as part of concluding their mission, Honorable Sidi Mohamed Tunis told journalists that the purpose of the visit was to promote the conducting of free and fair elections and shared some of the delegation's findings.
I am very, very happy with the support that the Independent Electoral Commission is getting so far from the government, because when we met with them, they assured us and confirmed to us that they have prepared a budget that was approved by government, and government has in fact started the disbursement from that budget. So we are very, very pleased, and we are very thankful to His Excellency the President and his government for the support they are giving the people of this country by supporting IEC.
Speaker Tunis re-echoed that regional peace and stability is certain when political players are constantly engaged and reminded of their constitutional roles.
I therefore call on everybody, especially the political stakeholders, to ensure that they guide their utterances that will create hate speeches, and all of those kind of things that will create problems in this country. They should avoid them.
The delegation had also visited Cape Verde, where the island nation is also preparing for general election on October 17 this year. Speaker Tunis also shared with the media what he thinks a country like the Gambia can learn from the island nation.
And believe me, you move around Cape Verde, you don't even know that there is election coming in just 2 or 3 weeks. You don't know, you will not even know that there is election coming up in just 2 or 3 weeks. People are so particular about security, and believe me, if all of us in West Africa, all the countries in West Africa, only decide to borrow that leaf from Cape Verde, we'll have peace in this region.
According to him, the community parliament will send an election observer mission while giving an assurance of the parliament's support to the Gambia. It is hoped that this fact-finding mission to the Gambia will contribute towards efforts to ensure a smooth and peaceful election. Reporting for QTV News, I am Aliou Cisse.
Well, that report by Aliou Cisse will now take us to a commercial break, and when we return, we'll have some more local and sports news stories. Do stay tuned.
Check out the all-new Tigo 8 at S-Pass Motors. Call 3522-222 or 353-2222 for more information.
Cherry. Looking for the fastest and easiest way to receive money transfers from abroad? Well, QMoney and Ria just made it happen. Now you can receive international money transfer from Ria directly into your QMoney account with no additional cost. Once you receive an SMS alert about your transfer, walk into any QMoney agent across the country to receive your payment for free, or use the money immediately to buy credit, QPower, and other QMoney services. It's fast, safe, and convenient. For more info, call customer care on 133. QMoney, Sinu Calpe. Terms and conditions apply.
Welcome back, and thank you very much if you're just joining us. This is QTV News. Following the release of the 2021 Gambia Basic Education Certificate Examinations, GABESE, earlier this month, the Ministry of Basic and Secondary Education, MOPSI, on Thursday briefed the media on the outcome of the 2021 Grade 9 exam results. Omar P. Jallo was there, and this is his report.
According to Louis Moses Mendy, Permanent Secretary at the Ministry of Basic and Secondary Education, MOPSI, 26,147 students sat to the 2021 GABESE exams, out of which 11,340 are boys and 14,807 are girls. Results for 418 candidates have not been released due to a delay in the submission of continuous assessment marks by their schools, which is a requirement by WAEC, the examining body. Nationally, the number of candidates with aggregate 42 or less has increased from 12,148 in 2020 to 12,354 in 2021. There are more girls than boys with aggregate 42 or less over the last 3 years. However, the number of boys with aggregate 6 has increased from 10 in 2020 to 12 in 2021. Meanwhile, the number of girls with aggregate 6 has dropped from 16 in 2020 to only 7 this year. P.S. Mendy said there was no case of examination malpractice.
Our interest as a sector is not to concentrate on those top students with aggregate 6. What is important for us is to widen the pass number and lessen the failure number.
The number of passes in the 4 core subjects also increased significantly. Passes in English increased from 11,419 to 14,254. Maths from 6,028 to 9,589. Science from 12,863 to 14,370. And Social and Environmental Study from 14,811 to 16,513. P.S. Mendy explained why.
We are working towards ensuring that, like I said last year, to zeroize the fail rate in this country.
P.S. Mendy said despite the challenges faced due to the COVID-19 pandemic, more students passed the GABESE exams this year than last year. He described the results as good, as the number of students that scored aggregate 6 to 42, which is the quota mark for grade 9 students to proceed to grade 10, has increased significantly. There has also been an improvement in the percentage passes by subject, including mathematics, which remains a challenge for many Gambian students. P.S. Mendy also has an appeal to teachers.
I will use this forum to encourage all my teachers to take up postings anywhere they are posted to.
P.S. Mendy also gave warning to public schools that charge students.
If there are schools that are levying some charges that are not authorized by the ministry, they should desist or stop that with immediate effect. There are regulations surrounding the operations of schools, and those regulations must be adhered to. We have free schools in this country, meaning no fees are paid in public schools in the Gambia.
This year, the number of students with aggregate 6 has decreased from 26 in 2020 to 19 in 2021. Amongst the 19 students with aggregate 6, 12 representing 63% are from public schools, and 7 representing 37% are from the private schools. 16 schools registered aggregate 6, out of which 11 are public schools and 5 are private schools. Reporting for QTV News, I am Omar P. Jallo.
As the EU-funded TechIFI program implemented by GIS draws to a close, stakeholders held a closing ceremony in the Upper River region, one of the areas of implementation. Alhaji A.F. Jallo has the details.
The EU GIZ TechIFI project was launched in 2019 to equip youth with skills and entrepreneurship opportunities for employability rather than embarking on perilous backway journey to Europe. As the operation winds down in URR, project officials reflect on its impact. TechIFI was chosen as the name of the project to emphasize you can make it here in the Gambia instead of embarking on irregular migration. Fabio Germano, the GIZ TechIFI project's team leader, said the project invested significant funds to provide startup capital in the form of grants and toolkits to increase youth's employability and to explore the labor market.
We were able to achieve significant results and give training opportunities and career perspectives to over 1,100 youths in this region alone. These young women and men who have graduated from the numerous programs we offered, whether through skills training, apprenticeship, or business development, have all validated the Techie Fee principle, affirming that, yes, it is possible to make it here in URR without having to go to combos or take the back way. Affirming that, yes, there is an alternative to unemployment, crime, and drugs, and this alternative consists of acquiring new skills, building on the talents you have, and realizing your potential as young citizens of this country and in particular of this region.
Beneficiaries Umu Jallow and Hamza Sise share their stories on how the project impacted their lives.
The project impacted my life by providing knowledge and skill in entrepreneurship. Also, the project impacted my life by creating opportunities, job opportunities for others. Before the project intervention, the situation was very hard because I find it difficult to earn a job.
For me, I'm happy that I'm able to create jobs. And secondly, I'm also able to learn new skills myself. When I was starting the catering business, I have no skill at all doing it. I only get people do it, and then I pay them. I was watching and I was learning. But today, what I brought here to exhibit, I prepared everything myself.
Sambaba, the URR governor, hailed the youths for their achievement. He advised them to utilize the enabling environment as government cannot provide jobs for all.
Government of the Gambia always try to create the enabling environment for projects to come into the country. We are having a government that you know that is what? Is more than willing to make sure that people come outside to invest on the young people and invest on women and invest on other development. But that is where we can stop. The other aspect of it is those who are now into the projects, those who are now benefited into the projects are the ones who should hold it what? And take it seriously. If that happens, even if the project phases out, the legacy of what? Of GIZ Techie Fee project in this country will continue to flourish forever.
The GIZ Techie Fee project seeks to tackle economic root problems through increasing job opportunities and income prospects for youth. According to the project team leader, over 1,100 youth have benefited from the program in URR. The project has established a solar center, 5 community-based agro-processing centers, 4 bakeries, 4 beekeeping parks, women and youth gardens, poultry farms, and equipped skill centers in the region. For QTV News, I am Alaji A.F. Jallow.
Now that will take us to the sports news. In sports news, the Dampakunda Sports Committee on Saturday held the final of the 4th edition of its annual football tournament at the village football field. Yahya 1 FC and Yankuba Cisse United met in the finals and were separated by only a single goal in favor of Yankuba Cisse United. Our reporter Fode Mane was at the final, and this is his report.
Both teams made it to the finals for the first time since the inception of this tournament 4 years ago. Perfect technique and good vision from Alaji Cisse, who put in a true ball between the defensive lines of their opponents, found Dembo Cisse in the right position to finish the goal and break the deadlock in the 20 minutes. Yahya 1 FC, with Suleiman Kanute, one of the best players of the game on right wing, had tried numerous attempts without success to get for an equalizer before the break. In the second half, Yahya 1 FC pushed hard again to level the score and had wasted a number of one-on-one chances against the tall and steady goalkeeper of Yankuba Cisse United. At the end of the 90 minutes, the Dembo Cisse goal was enough for Yankuba Cisse United to write for a new and a triumphant chapter in Dampakunda football. Khalifa Kijera, the head coach of Yankuba Cisse United, expressed what the win means to him. The coach guiding Yahya 1 FC, Mohamed Sidibe, could not hold back on his disappointment at losing the final. A member of the sports committee says the annual tournament seeks to build peace among the youth of the community through sports, particularly football. The captain of Yahya 1 FC, Suare Silla, explains the importance of such tournaments to the players.
We are just doing this just to build up our grassroots football. So, team so
the chairman of the Dampakunda Sports Committee, Dembo Cisse, thanked all those who contributed to the success of this year's edition and urges the youth of the community to maintain the peaceful coexistence within the village. Certificates were awarded to the best goalkeeper, best defender, leading goal scorer, and best player at the end of the game. The tournament winners, in addition to the trophy, got cash of $8,000, while the runners-up went home with $4,000 in cash. Reporting for QTV News, I am Fode Mane.
Well, interesting names of the teams there. Yahya One FC and Yankuba Cisse United, named after individuals. Fantastic. Now we will go to the recap of our main news headlines. In his Meet the People tour in the KMC, President Barrow has announced his government's plan for infrastructure development in response to concerns affecting the communities in the Kanifing municipality. In the wake of the heavy flood in Banjul, which affected part of the capital, President Barrow visited the area and promised his government's full political will to address the cause of the problem in the fastest possible time. The Speaker of the ECOWAS Parliament, Honorable Sidi Mohamed Tunis, has called on political leaders and Gambians to do everything possible to preserve the country's peace and stability ahead of the December election. The Ministry of Basic and Secondary Education, MOPSI, on Thursday briefed the media on the outcome of the 2021 Grade 9 exam results. And in sports news, the Damfa Kunda Sports Committee on Saturday held the final of the third edition of the community's annual football tournament. That's all we have for you in this Bulletin of the News. Thank you very much for watching, but don't forget to join us at 10 for another bulletin.